Hello, football lesson. I hope I find you well wherever you are. So let's talk about football, and we want to talk about Zimbabwean football. We saw that Zimbabwe played their first match in the 2025 COSAFA tournament against Mauritius, which ended in a 0-0 draw. But that's not what we want to talk about. We want to talk about the build-up towards that match. Towards that tournament, okay, the selection time, we saw that there was been a hype on social media in terms of Nathan Mutasa, who was, called into the team to come and replace Vusa Ngwenya, if I'm not mistaking the surname. So that being said, we saw a lot of people saying, well, Nathan was called into the squad because of his mother. Okay, as you know that Nathan is Pokello, Nare. Pokello, we already know, So that being said again, it made us to think a lot about this situation. First of all, there's some simple questions that we need to ask. The basic one, is Nathan a good player? Number one, was it indeed the issue of him being, related to whoever he is that made him to be called? Why was Vusa recalled at the same time? What were the circumstances surrounding Vusa being recalled? Now, looking at the issue of Vusa, we heard that it was a matter of a mistaken name or mistaken number or whatever the situation that is the number, people calling it the wrong number 66. So, again, it brings me to ask the question, was it a matter like that or what? Now, coming back to Nathan, we understand that he has had some international, stints outside the country, even though it was a lower divisions and lower level football. But he really had international experience, number one. Number two, he was also part of the under-17 for the Zimbabwe squad some time ago. So he has been in the squad before. But now the question is, why is it an outcry right now? Okay, well, we also understand that in January, Scotland, the new fit in the Zimbabwean Football League, signed Nathan, so he's part of Scotland right now. And we also understand that anything to do with the Scotland, people always look at it, side eyes. We understand what I'm saying, not being, being shared about it. But that is a fact about what is happening. Now, again, it brings me back again to the issue of Nathan Mutasa. Like I said, I've asked you some questions. Was he called because of his mother or just because he's a player who has to be in the team? Was it a matter of a mistaken number or what is it? Okay, that being said, we have seen that usually children from prominent people, they usually go through a lot, especially if you have a child of a public figure or anyone who is known. You might not be able to separate your name from your mother, your father, or whoever is associated with you. I think this is the same thing that we are seeing here. People cannot separate Nathan from the influence of his mother. Okay, so anything that he does is always being overshadowed by his mother. Then he has to work extra hard to prove himself that, well, I can be my own player, I am my own player, it doesn't have to be my mother who is helping me. At the end of the day, again, there's nothing wrong with a mother influencing one or two things, okay? I mean, it happens everywhere. But that aside, all I was saying is that Nathan is under the shadow of his mother. So no matter what he does, you have to work extra hard to prove a lot. He has to score goals in the squad for people to say, yeah, you came in, as a player standing on his own. We have seen it happening, like in the issues of the Venus Williams and Serena Williams. When Serena Williams came into the tennis arena, people were just saying, oh no, she's coming in because she's Venus' young sister, this and that. She had to fight very hard for her to be separated from her sister, for her to become better than her sister herself. And then she made a name for herself. So you always have to work extra hard. We have the issue of Cristiano Ronaldo's son, that is Cristiano Jr. He has been playing very well and everything, but still people, they say, well, it's Cristiano Ronaldo's son. That is why he was called into the Portugal squad. But it's not the case. Cristiano Ronaldo's son scores goals. Even without him being in the part of Portugal's team, he scores goals in any club that he is. He is a name for himself. Even though his father helped him, he has got a name. Of course, it gives a little bit of an influence, but on his own, he's also a very, very good player on his part. So again, it brings me back again to Nathan. We understand that nepotism is always there in sport. You cannot take it away. There's always those issues like that. But again, Nathan, is he a good player at Scotland? Has he been playing? Are there any other youngsters in Zimbabwe who play better than Nathan, who could have taken that position, from Nathan? You understand? Because we've got two groups of people here. We have got the players who are playing at Kosafa. We've got players who are in the national duty, waiting to play friendlies in Morocco. So this again, I'm like, let's always be, open to thinking and scrutinizing with facts. Kuti zviite zvakanaka. Mwana mudiki Nathan, okay, he's a youngster, 21 years, if I'm not mistaken. So he's also trying to make a name for himself, but he has to work extra hard because